Hello again, YouTube. My name is Bree, and in today's video, I am finally back to watercolor. So I know it doesn't seem like that long ago since I did watercolor. It really, I guess 3 videos ago, I had a watercolor piece, but it feels like it's been a really long time. So yeah, it really feels like I've been on quite an art hiatus. The last video I did, I just couldn't bring myself to create anything, so I did that Plain April sketchbook tour, and the video before that's the colored pencil piece you see on the right there, which I'm covering with parchment paper just because I know I'm going to rest my hands on it a lot and didn't want to like splash watercolor on it or smudge it. I don't know. I just didn't want the feeling of the pencil on my hand as I worked, so that was just kind of to protect it. But yeah, like I said, it feels like it's been a really long time. That last watercolor piece I did, which was, I think, in the beginning of Plain April, I didn't connect with it at all. The whole time I was working on it, it didn't feel good, and I just felt like I was fighting my medium. Like I just forgot how to paint, and I was honestly terrified that I would go through that same thing again with this one. So it actually worked out pretty well. I hadn't like, if I was watching this, like watching the video on playback in real time, I'm surprised I didn't panic sooner. But overall, I think I've overcome a bit of that like fear of watercolor I felt since that last video where it didn't work at all. And just hopefully I'm okay to get back into painting again, because I feel like I haven't painted anything this month. I've just been so artistically stunted. I guess people would say art blocked. It just feels like I'm art fatigued. I have a really hard time getting motivated to paint, to create, to do anything really. So it's just been a tough month, but hopefully this is a turning point and I feel better now. So we'll see. So this piece, this page, so basically and I know I mention him all the time, so you're probably tired of hearing his name, but Justin Donaldson on his Discord community, which is literally called the community, and that's for people who are patrons or former students of his, so it's not a public Discord. But there was a challenge in the month, I guess it started at the end of April, and it was meant to be a personal project. So the goal of this project was over 3 weeks to develop a full piece from starting with like really rough thumbnails to a fully painted piece, and each week had like different milestones to hit, from like doing value studies, color studies, finding inspiration. I mean, there was a lot to it, and I bombed at this completely. Like, it sounded like a really good idea because I've been wanting to put more effort into planning a piece instead of just painting something and then moving on to something else. I want to be able to make bigger things, more detailed things, and I've talked about this before, so it's just I don't know. I have like a block with planning things out. Basically, I find myself getting tired of something if it sits too long, and even like an idea. If I have an idea for a painting and I don't act on it quickly enough, I lose interest in it completely. So I went into this challenge at a horrible time because I was, coming off of Plain April, or actually I was still in it. So I'd been painting every day and I was pretty fatigued towards the end of that. So I didn't have a lot of time. And then moving into the following week, I was just exhausted and I needed time off. So I kind of figured pretty quickly that project wasn't going to work out. But I also found I struggled with everything. And I don't know if that was like a burnout thing or a general fatigue thing or me not being practiced enough in it. So like, I'm not good at doing thumbnails. I'm not good at taking the time to do value studies and thinking through things, and just the order of things I don't think worked with the way I see things, which like isn't a problem with the project itself. It was a great project. It was crafted really well, and I think I'm still going to go back and do it, but I think I just think about things a little differently. Like for a value study, for me, I think it helps to know what medium I'm going to use first, because it helps me understand how much I could push things. So how I approach value in watercolor versus gouache shouldn't be different, but it is. And so like, just punched my mic. I don't know. Maybe I just need to get work through everything and get past that. I don't know. Definitely going to go back to the whole concept of that project and stepping through things in the future. But where I really got stuck in this one is after I had done a couple thumbnails and I found myself drawing just this character. And then like I did a couple things just to better understand like maybe poses for him. And I definitely got too detailed on the pose too quickly because once again, not good at thumbnails. And then I kind of put him in an image and then I kind of lost interest. I tried to do a value study. I managed one and I just realized like I'd already completely disconnected from the piece. I didn't care about it anymore. I didn't know what I was trying to accomplish. I didn't know what elements to put in the background. I didn't know how much to push like the thumbnail versus the value study into like the final, like how much I had to have down from the beginning. I just got like over my head and then also disinterested. And so I thought that maybe it would help if I drew something else with the character because I tend to paint people, characters, not scenes. Or if I do a scene, it's when it was plain April, I just went outside and picked something and painted it. So it was there in front of me. But to create like a scene, a world really for the character I put down, I realized I didn't know how because I didn't know the character at all. It was just some random thing I put together. So I decided to take the time to draw the character to better understand him, take the time, and then maybe go back and create a bigger piece with him later, having learned a little bit about him by drawing him in the first place. So I sketched this like beginning of May, maybe end of April, and then I completely abandoned this too. And it's just been sitting there in my sketchbook this whole time, completely ignored. And then I think I get this way. If I don't, like I already said, if I don't finish a piece quickly enough, I tend to lose interest in it. And this one I knew I wanted to go back and paint. It wasn't something I was actively working on. It was just a sketch that was sitting there. So it's not quite that same disconnect. But I felt like I couldn't move on and do anything else because this was still like lingering over me. So I don't know. I painted like in the month of May, I painted 2 of my little tiny birds and that's it. I have not really created anything else. So I went from creating, painting, drawing 35 pieces in April, I think it was 35, to 2 things in May. And that's just really weird for me. So I knew I had to get back into it. And I knew I wasn't really going to be able to move on until I did something with this piece. And I decided to just go ahead and try to make a video with it, even though I knew I wanted to try some new things. And originally I didn't want to use this for a video because I wanted to have the freedom to explore without feeling like, well, everything is being recorded. But I think it worked out okay. I mean, there's definitely ugly painting, ugly art phase on this. And I definitely kind of got lost a few times. There's definitely like, had I done it without the camera or to me, part of filming is that there's a timer associated with it because I have the deadline of when it needs to get posted. And I basically need to have the video recorded and ready for editing the day before that so I could have time to edit it and then do the voiceover and proof it. So I didn't give myself as much time as I'd wanted to. So yeah, I don't know. There's definitely like, if I had done it without a video, I probably would have pushed things more. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. And a lot of it really did just feel like I was noodling, I was experimenting, I was playing around, and it kind of put me back in that comfort zone, despite having the camera set up. And I really did enjoy working on this one. So hopefully there's momentum that propels me forward to create more. And even if it's not the big piece for this character, at least not yet, just to, I want to be interested in painting again. I want to create. I think I've been going so hard with everything in life. I made it sound so dramatic. Oh my gosh. Between like trying to keep up with like I've been walking more. I've been trying to hit at least 7,500 steps a day. Lately, I've been trying to do even more because I want to get my little Garmin achievement of getting 300,000 steps in the month of May. I've been trying to rollerblade over 10 miles every week. So like this week I did 13, and then I couldn't paint all day because my fingers were still swollen because it's so hot out. So that didn't help me with my timer anyway. And then like just we went back to the office for work, and that, even though we're only back like one day a week, just the idea like being back, readjusting to a different environment, it's been stressful for me. So and then I'm also preparing to host my family. My parents are coming to stay with me next weekend. So trying to get the house ready, and that will like get that bathroom set up so they have like everything they need. Bedding, we had some issues with the bedding we ordered. It came and it was stained. So I was like trying to get replacements. Just all these like little things that have been occupying my time and adding just like a little extra stress. I don't know. It's been an exhausting little period since playing April, and I definitely needed some downtime, but yeah. I also feel weird because normally I play like a lot of video games. Not a lot, not anymore, but I used to play a ton of video games. But I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn since like the day it released, and I still haven't beaten it. Like I feel like I don't have time for anything anymore. I also don't have much of an attention span, and that doesn't help. But yeah. So I don't know what really to say about this character. Like I said, it was something I just came up with for the purpose of this project. I don't remember exactly how the project started. I think we were supposed to like talk about things we wanted to convey. And at the time, I was in a weird state with just some things going on in my personal life. And so I was feeling a little isolated. And I mean, that's like the pandemic in general. It's just been a weird few years. And then, so I think I was going for like isolation and loneliness. I don't remember what else. I think there were supposed to be 5 words. I don't even know if I made it to 5. I don't know. I was totally failing the assignment from the beginning. But my idea originally was to have this like bird guy, and either he was like injured or, well, he's crippled, or maybe born with like only one wing. I had him from like facing the opposite direction, and he only has like one full wing and then the one like sad little wing that you can't really see from here. I didn't decide. I never made a decision about whether he was like injured and had his wing amputated, or if he was just born with a malformed wing. I don't know. And he was like watching birds fly, and yeah, a real uplifting mood is what I was going for. So yeah, that's why he only has the one wing. It was by design. Beyond that, like I don't really feel like I got to know the character, but I did, while painting this and while sketching it, there were a lot of things I could think through. I'm not great as like a world building person, story building person. I like to read. I'm not good at like writing or creating characters. So I did get a better feel for if I wanted to do this bigger piece, how I would approach it, and some things I might change. But like I said, we'll see. By the time I actually get back to it, I might have no interest in it whatsoever. But I can say I created this and I had fun with this, and move on to something else. I'll just have to take a slightly different approach next time to get to know my subject matter a little bit more before I try to create something for it. I think that's why, like, to some extent, fan art is a little easier, because like you're already connected to that character and you know what type of world to put them in. Whereas I don't have OCs. I'm just kind of winging it here. Normally I paint someone once and then I move on, and I don't really have a connection to that character besides like the process of drawing them and painting them, and then I move on with my life and never think about them again. Yeah, real connected with what I do. So a little bit about the painting process itself. I knew I wanted to give him, I don't want to say darker skin because it's really not that dark, but like not pale skin. I normally paint and draw like really pale characters, so I wanted to play kind of with a different color palette for the skin. So normally, like, I've been using yellow ochre a ton. When I was working with the A Gallo paints, I use quinacridone gold because that's the warm yellow it came with. But in this case, I decided to go for, I think it's called transparent yellow, and it looks really like dark and gold in the half pan, but it's actually a really, really strong yellow. It can get really bold, but I need to stop hitting the mic. I'm sorry. But I decided to go for something like that to kind of change things up. Otherwise, I use kind of comfort zone red and blues. And then, yeah, that first wash I laid down on the skin was really orange. I'm like, well, we'll see how this one goes. For the wings and hair, I knew I wanted to make them the same colors. And right now they're pretty loud, but basically I was thinking of like crow wings or grackles. We have a lot of grackles nearby, so I see them all the time. And they, depending on the lighting, they look really black, or if the light's hitting them, you get a lot of like iridescence. So you see a lot of blues and greens and purples within the feathers when the light's hitting it correctly, a little red. And it's really pretty. So I didn't want to try to overcommit because I knew I was already putting a lot in trying to figure out how to simplify the musculature and the feathers. So I knew I already had a lot happening in this piece. So I just decided to go with an underlayer of a big wash of those blues and purples and some of the red peeked through. I didn't really use red, but obviously there's a lot of red in the mixture for the purples, so I knew it would peek through a little bit. And then kind of build on top of that to, keep some of those colors in there. Otherwise, one thing I did acknowledge while I was drawing this, and once again, this was weeks ago, so I'm having a hard time remembering all of that I was thinking about as I was doing it. But I had forgotten kind of how much I love drawing hands. Now, I don't love painting them quite as much as I love drawing them. And just like his pose, I wasn't really thinking about it too much as I did it, but like I kind of just put my hands in different poses and took some pictures and decided what I was going to work with. And I had so much fun drawing his hands. Painting them was a bit more of a struggle. I don't know why. I really had a hard time figuring out what I was doing with that. I can't write his right hand. It's been a long day. But yeah, I really had fun with that. So it kind of reminds me of like the piece I did with, well, I've done several pieces where there's like a lot of hands gripping people, and it reminded me how much I like doing pieces like that. So maybe I'll do something like with a lot of hands in a bigger piece and take that bigger project on again, but with something more like that, because now I remember how much I like doing stuff like that. On the topic of the musculature again, I definitely, so I figure if he like has wings are going to be probably heavy. So I knew I want to give a broad back. So like I said, when I first started to sketch like the thumbnails, he was facing away. So it was more like his back, the one wing, and you didn't really see the face much or at all. I don't even remember what the thumbnail looks like at this point. That's kind of sad. But yeah, because of that, I knew I wanted him to be broader across the chest, but I don't normally draw that kind of muscle form definition. So I didn't know how much I wanted to push that. I did use references. I have a few reference packs that I got from ArtStation. I referenced that in a prior video where I did like that elf monk dude. But yeah, I used some of those to kind of get an idea and then adjust proportions to try to make something that I thought would fit what I had in mind. But I'm super out of practice. It kind of reminded me, like I originally got into art because I was into comics. So I was drawing like Batman and the Flash and Spider-Man. So like that kind of was a bit of a throwback because I haven't really drawn anyone like this in a while. So just have a bunch of like really scrawny dudes that I draw portraits of, I guess. I've definitely hit a bit of a comfort zone, I guess, and it's good to like break out of it a little bit. So yeah, that was interesting. And I definitely don't feel like I finished the arms, but I could always go back and do more later. I had to get the video done for now. It doesn't mean the piece is permanently done or has to be permanently done, or I can move on. We'll see. It's all good. As for the darks, I really had fun with those. I didn't want to break the existing color palette too much, so I decided not to like start adding in like neutral tints or blacks or Payne's gray, and instead mix that really dark color with indigo and Venetian red. So I think that makes a really beautiful super dark color, and sometimes because the Venetian red it'll granulate quite a bit, but here I think it worked out really well. I was surprised how much granulation I got in the initial wing wash that I did, because that was the blue I used in that was an ultramarine finest, which isn't generally a granulating color, and then I mixed that with a non-granulating red, so I was really surprised I got granulation there and not here. But I don't know, less water, that changes things. I mean, I kind of put the paint down and then blended it out so it wasn't as stark, but I didn't put in huge washes, so I don't know. It's always a learning experience for me, but especially since I feel like I've been not using my paints in a while, and the last piece I felt so disconnected from. I definitely expected to struggle constantly with this one. And then by the time I got to the pants, I just didn't care. I started it and I had to run to the vet, and then I got home and it was getting to the point where, because the vet took forever this morning, where it was starting to get too bright and colors would be changing in the room, so I just kind of rushed through that. I said rush, but then I kept making mistakes and then smushing things, and yeah, basically I didn't take the time to think through what I was doing. I just over noodled and made a mess. So yeah, definitely could use more work on clothing in general. Maybe I should do some clothing studies. I mean, I basically put them in pajamas because pajamas are great, and I don't want to wear real clothes. Going back to the office, having to wear like slacks and blouses again, it's not my thing. I don't like it. Not that I'm wearing pajamas all day at work, but definitely not dressing up at home. So yeah, that's pretty much all of it for this one. I really can't believe I filled up all this time talking, because I don't even know what I talked about. Guess I'm pretty beat. But yeah, so thank you for being here, listening to whatever the heck I just said. And yeah, going forward, I have some new things I want to try. Like I said, I definitely want to keep at the watercolor and keep pushing, but I am taking Justin Donaldson's form and rendering class, so I don't know how much that's going to disrupt my schedule, but depending on what those projects are like. Otherwise, my dear friend Spofgh sent me a few Roman Schmincke watercolors to try out, so not enough for a full set, but definitely some fun colors to play with, so I definitely have to do that at some point. And then I mentioned in the previous video, my friend Rachel sent me some Knicker poster color to try out, and I ordered a tube of white so I could have a fresh tube of white to work with, and so I should be trying those soon too. I'm very excited about that. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, and hope to see you in a future video, which I don't know what it'll be, so we'll find out next time. Take care. Bye.